What's up, my dude? So thank you to Tracy Auldridge for another donation. This one's for $10.69, and he says, "My name is Ben, by the way." Okay, I apologize for that, bro. So anytime you send me a donation and you want me to put your name as something different on the top 10 donators of all time list and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have to specify that within the actual message in the donation, because all I have to run by is your whatever the name is on the donation. You know what I'm saying? So if it's like your mom or something, you probably want to specify to put a different name on there, and I will do that for you. But either way, I appreciate that $10.69. You'll definitely be on the top 10 list there. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about protest in MX Simulator, and what better track to do it than this one, dude? They should have just named this track 2017 Supercross Round 14 Spencer Turley, because I made this track world famous, dog. So, yeah, pretty much a perfect track for this video. Let's talk about it, okay? Now, I feel like I should be promoted to goddamn president for this idea here, because it's perfect. So just hear me out, okay? I'm going to get right into it so I don't waste people's time here. I want a lot of the top dudes over there at EMF, RF, whatever the fuck is the pro racing thing in the future. Listen to me here, all right? So I feel like with protest in this game, it should be like an eye for an eye. It should be like if you call in a false police report, you get in trouble for that. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm talking about is, for instance, let's just say you feel like somebody punted you in a corner, right? And you want to protest them for that. So if you protest somebody and they don't actually get a penalty at all for it, like the EMF or RF or whoever it is reviews your protest and they come to the conclusion that they're not going to give that person any penalty, then you should actually get whatever kind of penalty they were supposed to get. You understand what I'm saying? So whatever kind of protest you're putting out there, whatever kind of protest you're trying to put against somebody, if it doesn't actually come back as giving them a penalty, then you should get that protest for whatever it is. You should get that actual penalty. You understand what I'm saying? So let's just say you think somebody did a bad track re-entry or whatever, and you want to protest that. Well, if they don't actually get a penalty for it, like it wasn't that bad of a on-track re-entry, then you should actually get the penalty. Like, you should actually get that 1 week suspension for that. This will solve all of that horseshit where you got crybabies out there protesting 10 people in one race and all this crazy stuff. And I feel like this is a good video here because we've been having a little bit of craziness within the pro racing in MX Simulator right now between two people, and they've been kind of going back and forth, protests, been hitting each other during the races and stuff. And I feel like the way the protest system is right now, and it has always basically been, is you just kind of blindly fire from the hip and hope that you hit something, and there's no repercussions for doing it. So it almost like promotes this crybaby, like, you better protest everything, because if you don't, then somebody else might protest you and then you're going to get in trouble. So for instance, like, for the most part, whenever you get into a little kerfuffle with somebody on the track, usually it's not just one incident, right? Like, it'll be somebody will run into you in the corner before and then you'll run into them a couple corners later. But let's just say you're trying to be the bigger man and not protest that person, okay? But if they go in there and protest you, then you could get suspended and them get nothing at all when they probably started the whole thing. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, trying to be the bigger man in the protest situation, it's not promoted at all. I don't even think there's a limit on how many protests you can put on somebody in one race. I mean, shit, you could protest 1,000 people in one race. They may have somewhat of a limit on it in the EMF. I'm not exactly sure, but I know you can protest somebody every single race. And that's just, everyone is going to have those incidences in racing. That's racing. Like, it gets to a point where it's just like, come on, dude. I mean, seriously? It really does get to that point. I mean, there is no joke, at least 5 occasions where I could protest somebody and get away with it, and they would get a penalty every single time I'm on the track. I guarantee you, whether it be track re-entry or the way a lapper is acting or whatever the case may be. And then if you just protest everybody, then no one's going to be able to race because everyone's going to be suspended. Like, it's just ridiculous. I hate this system of, it's so, like, you better protest every little thing, because if you don't, then someone else is going to protest you. And you guys know how I am on this shit. I don't protest anything because I don't believe in it. Like, I feel like protesting shouldn't even be like that. I feel like it should be like the head honchos that are actually watching the race, and they see something that's like super crazy that goes down, somebody does a crazy track re-entry or something like that, then the actual EMF leaders or RF leaders can then go in there and file a suspension on somebody. But this shit where it's like some random dude back in 15th, getting lapped and somebody punts him and he wants to protest that, and, some horse shit like that. It's just stupid. Like, there's no point to it. So I feel like this sort of system that I've come up with would solve all that, because instead of somebody just being like, well, I think he hit me a little too hard, let me go protest him, he's going to have to think twice, because if he could potentially get that same penalty that person would get for giving a sort of quote-unquote false report, then it's going to make people only protest things that they truly believe 100% that person's going to get a penalty for it. You understand what I'm saying? It's really going to even everything out. You're going to have people not just protesting over little stupid shit. And I just can't believe there's no repercussion for protesting. It doesn't make any sense, because then that creates a sense of like, why don't you just protest everything? Nothing's going to happen to you, other than the fact that people are going to realize that you're just protesting everybody, and then you're going to get completely shut down in the community because people's going to realize how much of a crybaby you are, and that definitely happens. There's a lot of people that are deemed like the protest crybabies in MX Simulator, and you guys know who they are. I don't even have to say it. You dudes know. Right? Like, and that's why I've never protested in MX Simulator, and I never will, right? I will never, ever protest somebody, because I never wanted to be looked at like that kind of guy. You know what I mean? I just never wanted that. And I can say whatever the fuck I want to say about what happens on the track and how I thought that wasn't right for that dude to run into me, or whatever the case may be. I can talk about it all I want to, because I don't protest people. I don't do that. So I'm going to talk about it, right? Like, that's as manly as it gets in my eyes, is when you can do that, talk about it, disagree with it, but you don't protest. You know what I mean? You're not like a crybaby in the sense of trying to actually make something happen about it. Like, dude, do something on the fucking track. That's what they do in real life. They don't just go run, cry to the officials and say, oh, I think this guy hit me too hard and shit like that. I mean, they do a little bit, but it's not to actually get somebody suspended for a week on like an on-track incident in real life. It's just a different occasion in real life, So I don't know, man. I just feel like this system would be really good for this game. And I've always thought that it needed somewhat of more like repercussion for just protesting people. I mean, I feel like there needs to be something there, like give somebody I don't know, 2 protests a year kind of limit or something like that. You know what I mean? And that'll make them really pick and choose. There needs to be that. There needs to be something in place that gives them a reason to say, let me think twice about protesting 10 people in this race. Because everyone goes through it, like I'm saying. Everyone has those moments. So, and when you get in this kind of system of like, where you're racing somebody for a championship and he runs into you, you run into him, you land on him, he gets in your way, he jumps on the track in front of you, then it's just like protest after protest after protest, and I protest you for protesting me, for protesting you, for protesting me, and it's like, holy shit. There needs to be something done here, and I think the best solution for that is eye for an eye. If they protest somebody and there's no penalty, give that motherfucker that tried to protest him the exact penalty that that guy would have gotten. So if it's like if he protests somebody for bad on-track re-entry or whatever, and it's actually not that bad, and they give the dude no penalty for it, give that dude that protested him a 1-week suspension for false reporting. You need to do that shit, EMF. You need to do something. This has been an ongoing problem, I mean, for the longest time here, and it's not good. It's just not good to promote that sort of thought process of like, well, if something happens in my race, I'm just going to protest it. You know, I mean, no joke, this season, I could have protested probably about 50 different people in 50 different occasions throughout all the racing in this season so far, and they probably would have got a penalty for it. You understand what I'm saying? But I didn't protest a soul because it's just, a lot of it is just not that big of a deal. A lot of it is just like, dude, that's just the way your race went. Like, that's just the way your race luck went. I mean, there are certain occasions where it's like, if somebody's using someone else's key or, you know, big shit like that, if somebody just like totally, I'm talking there's like zero question about it, some lapper just blows out, you know, 5 different leaders at one time or is just, you know, causing a fucking riot on the track while the racing is going on, then that's one thing. And that's what I'm saying about how the officials should be able to catch that while they're watching the pro race. They should be able to catch something that's that crazy. But these little just like 1v1 little things that happen, little battles, oh, you accidentally landed on that guy because he didn't jump this jump, and so he gets protested. I mean, all that little crap just shouldn't be a thing, in my personal opinion. It just shouldn't. I mean, and the easiest way to fix that, eye for an eye, dude. Eye for an eye. No other way to say it. So, either way, I appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.